Okay, this is still morning ride to talk about governance and development in Nigeria, which is a pertinent issue now. I have with me two lawyers in the studio this morning to educate and examine governance and development in Nigeria. I have with me this morning Barrister Kola Babalola. Welcome to Morning, right?
Yeah, good morning.
And I also have with me Barrister Wahab Badebo. Welcome to Morning, right?
Good morning, madam.
Maybe I should call myself Broadcaster Jennifer Igwe.
Thank you very much.
So it will balance. This is Barrister Wahab, Barrister
That's right.
Kola, Broadcaster Jennifer. Abi, see, now
The equation is balanced.
exactly, sir. You know, looking at Nigeria today and Nigeria yesterday, you definitely agree with me that in some sectors we have really grown. We've seen development processes over the years. So how would you, in your own word, describe our rate of development over the years?
Well, democracy has been on as for the past 13 years. We are learning and we are making progress.
Okay.
There's no doubt about that. But there are certain areas that we need to really look back and probably adjust, and make sure that the dividend of democracy actually go and spread to the public. And of course, create some sort of incentive to the generation yet unborn, and make sure that things are easy for our people. In my own thinking, I want us to see a way where the issue of governance are less attractive, to people, so that people who are ready to serve are being elected, and not people that go there and started helping themselves. And that is the essence. And that is why people ready to do anything to get to the office. But if you make it look less attractive, people will know that if I'm going there, definitely I'm going to serve.
Yes.
Not that I'm going there to go and steal, or to go there to go and reach my purse, or probably.
But don't you think our society is also responsible for that? Because I was somewhere the other day and they were talking about someone and they said, can you imagine how poor he is? Do you know he was once a minister? And so I'm wondering, okay, maybe when he was a minister, he worked as a minister and maybe stayed with his salary and did his job. And by the time he was no longer a minister, people are now describing him. Can you imagine that man? Do you know he was once a minister and see how poor he is? Don't you think that we, the people, were also responsible partly for that?
Well, you are very, very correct, perfectly correct, because expectation, the moment you are elected or in a very good position, tendency is there for all manners of people to start running after you, because they have impression that when you are there, you have to help yourself. And the moment they think that you have to help yourself, they thought that at the same time, you have to help those who are close to you, even though they know that you earn salary. They don't even look at it in that way. They always think that you have unlimited resources.
And that puts a strain on even people in government.
I agree with you 100% on that. That is the position. It's rather unfortunate. I mean, that is the kind of system and kind of society we find ourselves. And that is exactly what happened where corruption is being practiced here and there. People want to help themselves. They want to help their immediate family. They want to amass wealth, just like example you have just given.
Yeah.
And say, well, you serve as a minister. What do you have to show for it?
Exactly. People say that.
Which I think is not good enough.
And I, in my opinion, I don't know what I want to hear from you as well. We always sit down and criticize people in governments that they that they are doing this and they do that. And when it's time for elections, some of the people who sit down and criticize government don't take part in the election. They don't even come out for to contest for any of the posts, and don't even vote. Don't you think we're also again responsible in our own way?
Well, talking about that, you can see that some of us take a laid-back position
Yes.
when it comes to governance. The process actually starts with election of representative into government. Majority of us, we say, oh, I cannot involve myself in this and that. And that's put paid, a call for the involvement of professional organization. All right? We must all be involved in the process. If you allow the field to be taken over by the charlatan, those who are jobbers, political jobbers, who are just looking for greener pasture and see politics or governance as an avenue where they can, make their fortune, they will always be there. But those of us who are educated, informed, either we have really gone through some tutelage, you serve in an organization, you work in government, you are a professional. There's what I call process and procedure. Somebody who has gone through some of all these, particularly the professional, when they are elected, they know what they are going there to do.
Let me also say this.
Yes.
Even when we have people who are right, who are professionals, who have all the experience, when they get into office, there's always so much pressure, especially accumulation of mistakes that have happened over the years is heaped up there on the table for the person. And when the person gets into office, it becomes a Herculean task to even clear all the errors of the past and even work with new targets and new vision. So I don't know why it's always a challenge. And so at the end of the day, somebody who is very vibrant and very good, and when the person gets into office, we don't get the kind of results sometimes we expect. I don't know.
Oh, let me say this. It's all question of environment. People believe that being involved in governance, as I've said, is an opportunity or a venue for people, to make fortune.
And so that also eradicates trust.
That's one. You will see that I say they are laid-back professionals because the demand, even in the process of electing, people don't really trust you because you are capable of doing the job. They've seen you as somebody who is going there to help yourself. They make series of demand even before the election takes place. By the time you are voted into power, take for example a local government chairman, for example. Perhaps he was a businessman, contractor, or what have you. He has to buy his way, buying the voter to elect him into office. He gets there, people still say, oh yes, we put you there.
And they line up at his gates every morning.
Every morning, they won't go there to ask, okay, you got a federal allocation this month, maybe running to some billions of naira. How much of the project within your environment you have carried out? They will go in, come with catalog of their demands. Once the chairman satisfies them and goes out, nobody asks about what the man is doing in government.
And not a demand for the common good of all.
Not a
just
demand for
I,
the
myself,
common-
and my family.
Exactly. Just question of, look, let me just go. It's a national cake. Let me go there and take a cut. And it is in this regard that, a group we belong to, that's the City Club of Lagos, usually annually organize what we call the public lecture. The topic of this year's lecture was actually what we are talking about, governance and development within Nigeria. Because for the past 13 years, okay, we are 52 years independent. There have been series of governments, before we start this fourth republic. Now, in some states, in some area in the region, the macadam, that is the road that was laid, by
Like
government,
in 1932, I can imagine.
are still there. If governance is not focused, if people who are going there are not focused as to what is our objective. Of course, 4 years is very nearby. Within 4 years, you just line your pocket and you go out. The environment still remain what it is. There will be no development. And again, let's look at it. Corruption is endemic in the system. If I take the process of how you bring people into governance, buying their vote, when the man gets there, he knows how much he has spent before he can get to the office. The first thing he's looking for is to quickly, balance his own account. Because you've said it, that somebody has been a minister. They say at the end of maybe 4 or 5 years, what have you got to show for it? We are only thinking about our own personal and inordinate interest.
And I've said this thing before. I was invited for a youth program, and I told them, I said, go home and tell your parents, until we stop dancing for our leaders. When we hear that our leaders are coming to visit us, our mothers will spend the whole day cooking, dancing and singing from one end to the other. Nobody would even remember to come out and cry what the problem is. And when the leader is coming, the road that is not good, we'll still allow the local government chairman to come and tar that same road. And so when the leader comes, for instance, or maybe Mr. President is coming to a particular place, they arrange the whole place, and he drives past. To him, the road is good and the people are living well because we are happy and we're dancing. Do you understand? And so he might not really know what the issues are, because he has seen us, we're all happy and smiling, and the road is well tarred. And I don't know why that happens. When we hear we have a leader coming, they come and they tar the road, they paint everywhere, and everywhere looks so nice. But at the end of the day, everything goes back to square one.
That is the kind of, leadership problem we always have. I think the most important thing is for us to create awareness, very good awareness, to sensitize members of the public, the essence of governance. And exactly that is what our organization is all about. We want to make sure that we create awareness. We want to make sure that everybody is sensitized. You just mentioned when in your discussion now, that people, are likely to criticize. They know how to criticize. The easiest thing to do in life is criticism. But when you are called upon to perform, then you find yourself wanting. It's most it happens all the time.
Yes, people who criticize, when you put them in the position,
they cannot perform.
It's always like that.
And this lip service you have just mentioned, when, for example, the president is coming to an area, they will make some sort of program, look and see everything is okay. And by the time he left, we now remain with our problems.
Yes, because the president can't be everywhere.
Questions. People are not raising questions. That is the problem. And the moment that person, they thought that, everything, and most of the time, what we have are these people who will tell the governor, the local government chairman, the president, exactly what you want to hear.
Exactly.
They are not ready to criticize because they want to keep their, their job. If you are sacked because you said truth, that is more honorable than for you to remain in service without achieving anything. And that is the bane of our... Look at, we have been on this, but like he said, 52 years, it's not a joke. In the hierarchy of governance in the country. But what we have to show for it.
I think it's like that in Nigeria. People just hold on to their jobs. Yeah. It happens everywhere. Even when they see the truth, they see something like they look the other way because they say, "Hey, at the end of the day, they might sack me or I might be transferred," and things just get worse and worse by the day.
Precisely.
Maybe I should say this. Don't let us be armchair critic. Let each and every one of us, say out our mind. In fact, if we are bold enough to comment on what is happening, I think things will be better. Then, part of the problem we have is that we have lost our, culture value. In those days, if a person, a young man just come into his father's compound with a brand new, even bicycle.
So we have to go back to our cultural
right?
values.
Because they ask you, young man, how did you get money to do this?
Okay.
How do you find money to buy this? But we celebrate opulence.
And that's also one of the problems
That
we
is
have.
one of the problems.
Thank you for coming to Morning Ride, and I think the initiative you're doing to create more awareness on governance and development is a good one, and I think you should keep it up.
Maybe
Now
I should.
maybe another day when I invite you. Okay, now another day. Thank you for coming to
All
Morning
right.
Ride.
Thank you very much.
Now that game is something that is becoming increasingly popular worldwide. Even in Nigeria, we have a lot of clubs now that focus on that game, and increasingly is becoming something families, not just in Nigeria, but in different parts of the world, gather to watch. Okay, so we have this short insert that tells us more about that interesting game.
Easy one. $45.